Namaskar and welcome to In Focus. If there's one man upon whom the fortunes of the United Front depend, then undoubtedly it must be the Chief Minister of West Bengal. Already one of the country's most senior and respected politicians, his supporters now hope that he will be the new Prime Minister. Today, In Focus talks to him about the United Front and about the elections. Chief Minister, as I said, you are considered to be one of the most forthright people in the country, one of the most outspoken. The United Front was a noble experiment in coalition government. How do you think it's fared?
Before the elections, we had no program. We didn't know each other very much, the 13 parties which ultimately formed the government. So it was a difficult experiment. But I think within the last 18 months, we got to know each other better. And I think we were coming to know each other better, closer to each other, parties from different regions of the country.
In most people's eyes, the image of a government is often associated with the image of the head of the government. How do you assess the performance of Mr. Devagowda and Mr. Gujral?
No, I think Mr. Devagowda, although he had no experience of running a United Front government, he started well, and he was trying to understand. Of course, earlier I didn't know him so much, but when I was in the steering committee, core committee, we used to meet to discuss policies. I found him quite reasonable and willing to listen.
Can I put something to you that one of your colleagues, Indrajit Gupta, said? He said that perhaps Mr. Devagowda never really learnt the art of how to run a coalition.
No, that was, sometimes he told me also, that he doesn't discuss over the files we have to sign. But I also told him frankly that you are the second man in the ministry. You are the Home Minister. So why should he call you? If you want to talk to him, you go and talk to him. So
you're saying in a sense that Mr. Indrajit Gupta should have asserted himself a little more?
I think so. And why not? You see, and it's a collective responsibility. Ministers should talk to each other. But that was, you are right, he said that to me once. He doesn't call us, he doesn't talk to us.
What about Mr. Gujral? People often said of him that he's a very good man, but he may not be suited to be Prime Minister.
That I cannot say. You see, here any person is suited to be a Prime Minister. Let me Gujral had a lot of experience as a foreign minister, being in the government, being in the Janata Dal, even in the Congress he was there. But he unfortunately, I think, he doesn't have a base of its own. And the Janata Dal to which he belongs doesn't exist practically in Punjab. From where he's standing now for elections. But he has an experience, not running a coalition government, that nobody has there, that experience. But I think he was also a patient person, and he had a lot of knowledge, certainly foreign policy.
Can I put to you something that Mr. A.B. Bardhan once said? He said that the problem with Mr. Gujral is that perhaps he lacked the killer instinct, and he also said that maybe he wasn't a natural leader of men.
No, as you know the history, he was suddenly made the Prime Minister. He was the consensus Prime Minister after Devagowda, when Congress withdrew its support from Devagowda. I don't think there was anybody else. We thought of one or two other persons, but we all sat down together and ultimately decided on him. And he never thought also he would become the Prime Minister. But he was getting along, he was trying to learn, trying to understand things.
Are you saying that he was...
Also economy, not only foreign policy.
Are you saying in a sense, Chief Minister, that he was chosen for consensus reasons rather than for his leadership qualities?
That is true. There were one or two other candidates for Prime Minister.
In fact, your colleague, Mr. Harkishan Singh Surjit, has said in one of his earlier interviews to us that his preference would have been Mulayam Singh Yadav.
That's quite right. We had, from our party, we had suggested Mulayam Singh Yadav, and for various reasons. But then there had to be a unity, consensus. So we asked some of our one or two of our colleagues to go around and find out the opinion of the other parties. And ultimately, within about 3 or 4 hours, he went round, came back, and we all sat together. And Mulayam Singh also, we requested him to withdraw from this. And he was very good. You see, he understood the situation. Immediately he said, I am not in it. You choose whomever you like, and I shall support. And then we all chose together, Gujral.
So, in a sense, Mr. Gujral was, from your point of view, second best.
Yes, we had suggested Mulayam Singh because he had a big base and it was necessary there in Uttar Pradesh it would have some effect, we thought. But that was not the opinion of others.
Many people say that goodness, which is Mr. Gujral's primary quality, is perhaps a necessary quality in a leader, but it's not sufficient. Now, you've been Chief Minister for 20 years. Would you say that toughness and an ability to take calculated risks is a more important quality in a Prime Minister?
No, Chief Ministers or Prime Ministers ultimately have to take decisions. You can't go on, you must discuss, understand, talk to people, bring them around. But ultimately the decision has to be firmly taken and pursued. That should be a quality of all ministers, particularly the head of the ministry.
Let me give you an example where people think that Mr. Gujral avoided taking a decision. This was over Lalu Prasad Yadav. The country wanted him to turn up and say, resign. The country wanted moral authority, but Mr. Gujral seemed to be unable to do it.
That is true. He had some hesitation. He thought he could be brought around, he could remain in the United Front, but that was not the position of most of the parties in the United Front. We thought that we have been fighting for some principles. It's just not a question of getting some votes with whatever means and without any principles.
Quite right. So did you feel that Mr. Gujral's prevarication, in a sense, was letting you down?
He was not agreeing with us. He said he should take some time. And we didn't know why he was wanting time. For us, everything was clear. And ultimately that happened, of course. It was a little late.
It was a little late. Did it do damage to the Prime Ministership, this delay, this lateness?
No, delay sometimes does damage, but delay sometimes is also necessary because there are 13 parties to get around.
What about something else, Mr. Basu? Suddenly, your Prime Minister, he may not be your candidate hereafter, but your sitting Prime Minister is fighting an election from Jalandhar in association with the party that you have great reservations about. Do you think that's an acceptable thing for the United Front Prime Minister to be doing?
No, actually we discussed with him. He also discussed with us. We thought if he stood, he had no other base to stand from, although he was offered seats in one or two states, I'm told. But he said no, he had been elected there in 1989, I think, and so he knows those people. But we told him that the Janata Party is very, very weak. It doesn't practically exist there. But of course, if you insist and stand on the Janata Dal ticket, we can't object. But you should not share the same platform with the Akalis and the BJP.
He's definitely sharing it with them today. He appears with Badal, he appears with Tora on the same platform.
No, he has different ideas, but we don't like it. We don't agree with it. He says he can bring back the Akalis to their original position. Akalis was a very good, powerful party which fought for independence.
But do you believe him when he says that?
We don't think as yet there's any sign of the Akalis coming back to the old position.
Can I put it like this? Is it the case that you agreed in the end to his insistence on standing from there because you said to yourself, well, he hasn't got a base and perhaps this is the only way he can come back to Parliament?
That is right.
So in other words, you made an exception of him to help him out.
That is right.
Let me come to one other thing. Many people said that within the United Front coalition, the left parties often seemed to have a troubled relationship with others. On issues like, for instance, economic issues, privatization, disinvestment, foreign investment, you had different views. Do you think the left was at times a little bit too outspoken about its differences?
No, we had to be outspoken because what we insisted on was to implement the common minimum program. Everything is contained there. Our reservations and everything, despite all that, we could have a program of the United Front. But we think sometimes, for instance, in the preparation of the last budget, we don't think that that was being adhered to in some respects. So we made our criticism, and we told them, frankly, that outside we should speak our views because it is contained in the common minimum program.
But
and that is not being reflected in the budget.
But Chief Minister, by speaking your views outside so openly, sometimes by holding dharnas and rallies, do you think the left, unintendedly, no doubt, but do you think the left contributed to the impression that the United Front is in fact disunited, it's falling apart?
No, but we went on saying the positive things also, that despite what you are telling you and you are organizing meetings to bring pressure on the government, on us who are in the United Front, It doesn't mean that we want to weaken the United Front.
So you have no...
We want to strengthen it.
You have no
advantage of all this is weakness is being taken by the BJP.
But you have no second thoughts about the behavior of some of the left leaders within the United Front?
No, I don't think so. But we don't think that we damage the image of the United
Let me put you something. Mr. Gujral said to me that one of the biggest embarrassments he had to put up with was the outspokenness of the left.
So I think he's mistaken there. Because of that, and because of our saying that we want the United Front to be strengthened, this is why we are doing all this, because if you do not implement the CMP, the Common Minimum Program objectives which are there, then you only weaken yourself. You weaken the United Front.
Chief Minister, we have to take a quick commercial break at that point. I want to come back in part 2 and talk to you about the electioneering and the way the wind is blowing. But first, we'll take a quick commercial break. Don't go away. We'll be back in just a couple of moments. Welcome back to part 2 of our interview with the Chief Minister of West Bengal. Mr. Basu, I want in this part of the interview to talk about the election campaign. Judging by press and television, it seems that Sonia Gandhi has taken the campaign by storm. Does that worry you?
I don't think so.
Well, let me say this to you. Look at the issues she's raising. Bofas, Babri, women's liberation, economic liberalization. She's even at the forefront of criticizing the BJP. And at the same time, she's attracting great crowds. So are you worried that she's capturing the imagination?
I don't think so. If she raises the Bofors issue, her husband was involved in all this. He was the Prime Minister when all this happened. Although at that time he said, somebody has taken bribes, but not I or my wife.
But you see, by raising the Bofors issue, she's put the BJP and, forgive me, your own party suddenly on the defensive, because when you raise it, all of you look as if you're responding to her.
No, but now she has taken legal opinion that Bofors report cannot come within the next 3 or 4 weeks when the elections are taking place. That is why she has raised it.
So in other words,
why did she not raise it so far?
So she's only doing it from behind the...
But she was Rajiv's wife. She knew everything about Bofors. Her Italian friends were there. Why didn't she raise it so long? What happened? Why suddenly in the elections? People are not that simple, fortunately, you say that.
You say people are not that simple. Let me tell you about the latest poll that's come out. Outlook magazine shows that under Sonia's campaign, the number of seats Congress will get has gone up. The number of seats that either the BJP or UF will get have gone down.
Well, if you can bring down the BJP a bit, I am happy. But whether all that is correct or not in our country, that it's not scientific. I haven't seen this magazine.
But you're dismissing polls in India as unscientific.
I think so. Maybe that she will stop the rot for a while in the Congress because of personality, Rajiv's wife and so on. Whether she was a politician or a housewife, people sometimes don't, the consciousness is such that they do not look at it, they do not differentiate sometimes. But again I say, people are not that simple. They have gone through many experiences during the last 50 years.
Okay, let's come to something that Sonia has been doing. She seems to have made a strategy out of apologizing. She's apologized for Operation Blue Star, she's apologized for the Babri Masjid. Do you think she should apologize for the emergency as well?
These apologies don't mean anything to me. Neither should it mean anything to the people, the vast majority of them. They are not that simple. Why the apologies now? Because they're elections.
So in other words, these are not genuine apologies.
Fact, go against her.
These are not genuine apologies.
Nothing is, they don't mean anything. It's just to get votes.
You're saying she's trying to fool the people with an apology?
Yes, she is. What can she do? She's a housewife. She has been advised as such. I feel sorry for her. That's what I can say. This is not the time for apologies. Why are you apologizing now? What happened for so many years?
Why do you feel sorry for her? She seems to be carrying out a strenuous campaign.
No, because she's in the wrong party. What can I say? And who has advised her to apologize, that also I don't know.
What do you mean she's in the wrong party? Are you saying...
However simple a man or woman will ask, what were you doing so long? Were you not concerned about us, our fate, what was happening in India, all these atrocities which had happened? Why are you apologizing now? Babri Masjid was demolished so long back. Why did you not apologize?
Can I put something to you? You say that people will ask, why have you not been concerned about us? She came to Calcutta last week and she said that she sympathized with the people of Bengal for suffering under 20 years of left-front misrule.
Has it anywhere happened in the world that the 9-party coalition had lasted for 20 years? Consecutively, 5 elections we have won. We have here in the Lok Sabha, in the Assembly, in the Panchayat, 3-tier Panchayats, the vast majority, they are with the left front. So what she means is the West Bengal people are fools. So they have been tolerating this miserable government.
You repeatedly refer to her as the housewife. Why do you do that?
Because I know her, she was a housewife. What was she?
Are you also saying
she was looking after her children very good. She brought them up.
Are you also implying that she has no right to aspire?
I have had lunches with them, I have met them. She had nothing to do with politics. Sometimes she went with her husband to the constituency from where he was.
I understand, Chief Minister, but are you also saying...
But I say the housewife also has the right to come into politics.
But then why do you keep calling her housewife?
Huh?
But then why do you keep calling her housewife? If she has a right to come into politics...
I say
and
the
to become a
housewife
politician,
has come into politics. She has the right to come into politics. What I'm saying is that when she speaks, I can't meet her now, but I have advised her publicly. You look at the speeches which are written for you. Now what she says about West Bengal, who will accept that? Which means she is calling West Bengal people fools.
Has her
Why have the West Bengal people elected us for 5 consecutive terms?
Mr. Basu,
which has never happened in the world, never happened anywhere in India.
Mr. Basu, has her criticism of West Bengal, has her criticism of your government hurt you?
It doesn't mean anything. That is why I'm advising. Yesterday also in the meeting I said that she should look at that speech which is written for her.
Let me ask, in your eyes, is she a foreigner or is she an Indian?
No, she is an Indian citizen. And she should be a foreigner. She was a foreigner, but she belonged to Italy.
Do you support Chandra Babu?
When she got the citizenship, I do not know, but that doesn't matter to me. She is an Indian citizen and she has every right to be in politics, to serve the Indian people. She has every right.
So does this mean that you don't support Chandrababu Naidu's call to amend the constitution to keep out people like Sonia Gandhi from trying to be Prime Minister?
It can't be. If you're an Indian citizen, you can't keep out anybody. No such law can come.
And you don't support...
According to our constitution.
But Chandrababu...
I don't know what Chandrababu Naidu has said. Then he's mistaken about the law and the constitution.
He wants to change the constitution. Do you support that?
No, I don't. I don't think it can be changed that way.
Do you support Mr.
How that can be changed is very simple. A person is an Indian citizen. An Indian citizen has the right to vote. Now, will it be said that a person is a white person or a black person or yellow person, so if he or she is an Indian citizen, it can't stand for election?
I accept.
No such law can be there.
How do you respond to Mr. VP Singh's statement that it would be unfair of the press, it would be unfair of political parties to blame Sonia for whatever crimes her husband may or may not have committed under Bofors? Do you support that?
Of course, I was saying that she was not a politician. She was a housewife. Now, what the husband did, how much she approved of that or did not approve, I do not know. How can I know? But how is the wife to be blamed? I also say that. But her name was involved in Bofors case. And then Rajiv Gandhi said, somebody has taken bribe, but not I or my wife. I leave it at that until the report comes.
So in other words, you're saying that you agree with Mr. VP Singh and we should not seek to make Sonia suffer for anything Rajiv may or may not have done.
No honest person should do it.
No honest person should try and make Sonia suffer. Suppose the only way after the elections of preventing a BJP government was for the United Front and Congress to get together and form a coalition. Would you accept the idea?
We cannot accept it just now because Congress has not changed a bit. It's not a democratic party also.
But when you say you can't accept it just now, for the same reason you won't be able to accept it afterwards either.
But, I don't know how much apologies will come, what changes they will make in their policies or what. I do not know. But I don't imagine that such a situation will arise. I hope not, at least.
But you're saying very clearly that for a Congress United Front coalition to be feasible after the election, the Congress has to make changes in policy, they have to make apologies, as you said it.
Apologies don't mean much, as I said earlier, but unless why are we against the Congress? Not because it is called the Congress, because of their policies we are against them. So, and with those same policies, I saw in their manifesto, they have gone to the people. They have not been self-critical at all. But then so how can we even imagine? Then if you are unable to form a government, we are working in parliament, we are working outside, we have been working in the opposition, we sit in the opposition.
But Chief Minister, then you are saying something else.
But no opportunistic alliance should be there.
But then, Chief Minister, you are saying something else as well. If there should not be an opportunistic alliance, and if a Congress-UF alliance looks so impossible as you say it does, then you're also saying by implication that a BJP-led government, whether a majority or a minority, looks more likely.
I don't think so. At the moment, I don't think so.
No, but sir, it has to be one or the other, because if you're ruling out a Congress-UF
alliance... At the moment, I
alliance,
think the United Front will get a majority.
On its own?
On its own.
You seem to be the only one saying it.
I don't know, then I am the only one, and the people should say it now.
Okay.
Through the votes.
Let me then put it like this. If the United Front doesn't get a majority, and if it looks that the BJP could form a government, either on its own or with its allies, then in that situation, will you overcome your concerns and hesitation about the Congress and get together to keep the BJP
How?
out?
What is... I don't know the Congress program. If it is the same program, we would rather sit in the opposition, according to me.
Therefore, you are proving my point, Chief Minister, that in those circumstances, it looks most likely that the BJP, whether in a minority or a majority, will end up forming the government.
I don't think so.
Because you're saying...
That is not my reading of the situation up to now.
But you're saying...
I think the people are more and more understanding the danger of the BJP, so that their seats will go down, even with the opportunist alliances which they have. I call it a uncivilized party. I think the people will also understand that and bring them down.
In May 1996, your party refused to join the United Front government and prevented you from becoming its Prime Minister, and you said that was a historic blunder. Had you been Prime Minister, would the United Front government have lasted longer?
I don't think such a situation would have arisen yet. I don't know about 5 years, but I don't think such a situation would have arisen. That is my estimate of things personally.
Tell me something else. In what way would the United Front government have been different had you been Prime Minister?
That I cannot go into details, but because I have... Why did they ask me? Not because they liked my face, because they knew I was here working in the United Front government earlier for 2 years, then for 20 years now in the Left Front government, for my experience. I think that would have been useful for all the partners in the United Front. That is why they asked me.
And the same experience that gives you confidence to say that had you been Prime Minister, the government would have lasted longer?
Well, that is my surmise. You see, that if our party was there, which has played a very significant role in keeping them together, then maybe that such a situation would not have arisen.
My last question, sir. Is there any age at which a man becomes too old to be Prime Minister of India?
Communists don't seem to think so. But there should be some cases where people have to retire if they are unable to function, unable to carry out their mission. Then, whether you are young or old, if you are unable to do that for health reasons, then whether young or old, one should step back to give others a chance.
They say that civil servants retire at 58, they say that army officers retire at 58. Why shouldn't politicians retire at 58?
No, because it's different. Army, politicians, and it's quite different spheres you are talking about. So as I say in our party, for instance, we say, as long as you can work, whatever your age, if your brain is functioning, if you are able to operate, then you have to carry on till the last breath. That is what we say.
Chief Minister, at that point, thank you very much for this wonderful opportunity to talk to you so openly. That's it for this week in Focus. We'll be back next week with another politician. But today, from the Chief Minister of West Bengal's residence in Salt Lake, Calcutta, goodbye.